We're back again. It's Robert Fong and Charlie Schmidt.
What's going on?
And we're talking about Infinity War.
Yes.
Today. The third Avengers movie. Is it the third Avengers movie?
It is technically the third.
Technically the third Avengers movie. Part one of Infinity War, because I know they're like, this isn't part one anymore, but we all know it's part one of Infinity War.
Right.
But we're going to talk about just general sort of things. No spoilers or anything like that just yet. Did you, Charlie, like it? And should people go see it?
I loved it. I think if you have followed the movies, then you'll love it. I think if you've seen 50% of all the movies, you'll love it. If you're a fair weather fan, might not be for you.
Yeah, if you kind of go in and out of these movies, these Marvel movies, and I don't blame you because it's been a decade of having these
10
movies.
years, yeah.
It's crazy. And if you're kind of passing in and out, you've seen some of the bigger ones and everything like that. This movie relies on you knowing the past decade of even stuff like the Hulk movie that everybody forgets is in the MCU, but it is. It relies on you knowing everything coming up to this.
Yeah, they skip a lot of exposition just to...
Because even though this movie is 2.5 hours long, they jump right into it, and you better be on for the roller coaster ride for the next 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they never stop.
No.
And at the viewing I went to the first time I saw it, the lady next to me had seen no Marvel movies, and she proceeded to ask her son the entire time, who's that guy? What are they doing? Why are they doing that? Why did he say that? I wanted to throttle some people.
Oh my god, why would you take your mom who hasn't seen any of these Marvel movies to this one?
But even despite that, it was the best night ever.
Yeah.
She couldn't even bring me down from that high. 'Cause that was great.
That lady's not going to bring Charlie down.
No. I loved it.
It was, when I went to the showing, I went to a midnight showing on that Thursday into Friday. And I had been awake since like 4 a.m. So I was sitting in these nice, comfortable, reclining chairs that everybody has nowadays. And I was like zoning in and out hard, especially towards the end on this one. But it was good. It was really interesting because there was nobody in there. There were probably 6 other people in that theater with me. Was your theater packed?
It was fully sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Well, you went on Saturday, Friday?
For that one, we went Friday night. It wasn't the preview night. It was full on Friday, 7:30 RPX. So just tons of people, and the audience went nuts. It was just fun to be in that atmosphere where you could gasp and you could cry out. And, really show every emotion. That went with all except for that one lady sitting next to me, but she was fine.
Who's that?
Yeah. What are they doing?
Timmy, who's the big purple man?
Mom, that's Thanos.
Yeah, of course he answered every time.
Yeah.
I was like, shut up, kid. But yeah, I would give it an A plus.
You give it an A plus?
I do. I think the pacing was great. I know a lot of people had a problem with the pacing.
That's interesting because I went to go see it again today just before we started recording this, and I was paying attention to the pacing. I didn't, with this, spoilers, this movie has how many characters? 587 characters in it, and it didn't feel like it was lagging behind, or I didn't feel like there were illogical jump cuts from the different groups of characters or anything like that. So it's actually kind of interesting to me. It's like they had some kind of black magic that they put on this script to make all of this work together.
So cohesively, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think, because I know the first time you saw it, you felt like it was a little disjointed and a little jarring. Do you think just because you were tired?
I was tired, and that's why. And that's why I went into this next showing where it's like, I got to pay attention to what's happening and everything like that.
Yeah.
But
no, I thought it was masterfully written. And the way they incorporated everyone was just smart.
Yes.
So smart.
It was very smart to split up the characters into separate chunks and stuff like that.
Like 3 groups. They had 3 groups that they would just check in with.
Periodically, you'd go through all of them, and then Thanos kind of had his own.
Yeah, so he's kind of the
Section
fourth group.
Yes.
And he's so great.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, it's so great.
Is amazing. And when I went to go see this, you've got this giant purple monster that is Thanos. And I never once stopped, even in the second viewing, I never stopped to be like, that's CG or anything like that. That's how good the CGI is with what they did with Josh Brolin, turning him into Thanos. And apparently they had him, he was on set and he was wearing, like, I guess, probably green suit and everything like that. And they had all the tracking dots and he had stilts on and stuff. So he was actually, could interact with all the characters instead of having just some big globe that everybody had to interact with.
Yeah, it's fully him. Like, that is Josh Brolin and his performance. They gave him so much heart.
Yes.
They made him a relatable character. You had empathy for him, which I think is the backbone of this entire movie.
He is the villain and he is the protagonist of this thing, which is interesting. You don't usually get to see that in most movies. What I really do wish that in the other movies we got more of him. And I know this was like they had to do the big reveal and everything like that, but with so many characters condensed into it, that's my only gripe, is that there's so many characters in this that even Thanos gets substantial screen time. I don't think that I felt as deeply for this character as I could, because I've only seen him like once or twice in other Avengers movies, and that's just when he's like smiling at the camera. He's saying like, boy, don't do this, you need me. He's doing things like that. So I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of him
Beforehand.
before this.
Yeah.
And it could have just been little itty-bitty sections at the end of, like, end credit sequences or something like that. Just a little bit more to flesh out his character. Because it felt like too much all at once. And especially into this movie.
And I think that goes into, probably when the first Avengers movie came out 8 years ago. I don't even know.
We'll run down some numbers and stuff like that. The first Avengers was 2012.
Wow. And that's the first time we saw him. So, I'm kind of glad that he kept his mouth shut, because I think even back then they
didn't know what to do with it.
Right. And even going into the bigger plot and the smart choices they made, and I guess these would be spoilers at this point.
Yes.
Is that they chose not to make his motivation be for his crush on Death, which is in the comics is a sexy skeleton.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. And I'm so glad we didn't have to watch some sexy skeleton.
Which actually also we did our Deadpool 2 talk. Deadpool was also infatuated with the Death as well. And that's when I saw her curvaceous body with the skeleton face.
Yeah, at this point, I want to see that. I want to see Thanos and Deadpool compete for Death.
Over the affection of Death. Yeah.
But I'm glad we didn't see her in Infinity War.
Yeah, it would have been kind of strange to see that.
Because it's so smart for his motivation to be that. The world, the universe's resources are pushed to the limit now, and we have too much overpopulation.
And I know a lot of people are like, that's stupid, that's not how the world works and everything, blah, blah, blah and everything. So, but in the movie, that is a good motivation for a character to have. Because most of the villains in the MCU are just whatever. They're one note and everything. Thanos has more depth to him.
He has more depth, and that's, if you sit there and actually think about it, he's not wrong.
No,
he's actually helping.
Yeah, and that's the good mark of a good villain and stuff like that. They always say, he thinks he's right and everything like that. And all the other villains have always thought that they're right and everything, but they've always been much more one note and not dimensional or anything like that. But Thanos, they did a fantastic job of actually giving him depth and giving him that emotion and the feeling and everything. That's something that they missed. I think they tried to do that with Killmonger.
Yeah.
Which is one of the better villains and everything like that. But I still think that Killmonger is might be one of the better villains and everything, but they did a better version of Killmonger's story with Thanos.
Okay.
And it's coming hot off the heels of Black Panther. Like, literally, Black Panther's DVD came out the day before that Infinity War was in theaters. and they even did that, getting crazy into the spoilers. The last scene of the movie is basically a mirror image of Killmonger's scene.
Really? Yeah.
Because he's like, I wanted to watch the sunset in Wakanda, and Thanos snaps his fingers, kills half of the people in the universe, and then he just goes and he rests and he's watching the sunset and everything. And which I think that's what actually made it good, because we've always seen those bad guys are like, I'm gonna kill everybody in the world, because like Killmonger was like his name, Killmonger,
right,
I am going to take over everything,
right.
I'm gonna do this.
Because
Thanos is coming from a emotional point where he says, I'm not the bad guy, I'm not trying to kill everyone,
right.
And he even tells Tony that, he says, don't worry, after this is done, half of humanity is still going to be around.
Right.
So he definitely thinks that he's coming from a good point. And he actually calls a running theme in this is fatherhood and children and everything, because he calls everybody, you're my children and everything. He's like, I'm looking out for everyone.
Right.
I'm your father.
Yes. This is for the good. I'm doing this for you. And it's so brilliant. And, you know, we talked about right at the beginning that obviously this is part 1 and part 2, but if you look at it, if it is his story, he does it and he rests.
Yep.
He does exactly what he wanted and he rests.
Yeah, because like he could have easily been like, I killed half of the people. Yeah, now I'm going to kill the other half. Now he's, at the end he's like, I rest. I'm done.
Yeah, this is over. And in his mind, there's going to be no repercussion. Nobody's coming for him.
He's like, that's it. And then my friend was like, huh. How did he know that he wasn't going to die when he snapped his fingers, too? And I was like, that would have been an alternate ending. Thanos does that, and then he dies, too. Which actually would have been a completely different movie.
Oh,
that would have been very interesting. He died and everything like that, too, along with everybody. Yes.
Going back to his motivation, if he started disappearing, he'd be like, this is good. I did it.
Yeah, Thanos, because he said it was all impartial. Nobody gets better treatment than anybody else. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, doesn't matter. You're all in the running for this.
Right.
It's just half clean. It's simple. It's the good way to do this. Which, God, they did a good job with Thanos. Just from the writing and Josh Brolin and the CGI and everything like that. Yeah. He is the best character that they've made.
I firmly do believe that they weren't completely lying to us. I feel like the next one will be a completely different movie. I don't think it'll be Thanos based.
Yeah.
I think it will be, the Avengers fight. It'll be about them. And it's about the original Avengers, not all the new ones.
Because they got rid of all the new ones.
Very brilliantly. And then they had that shot of, did they have a shot? That might have just been in my mind, because I was like, who's left?
Yeah.
And then I just saw them all posing. Thor and all the original Iron Man.
I think they were standing over Vision's dead body.
Okay.
And it was Captain America, Thor, Rhodey. Oh, God. Who else? Black Widow. Thor, or Hulk, and Rocket Raccoon was the only Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which is a cool addition to the original lineup. At least it gives us that cosmic aspect to the original. But I am so pumped for the next one, and I would love to go see it again. Yes. The original Infinity War. I'm very bummed I haven't seen it a second time yet.
It's good, man. Nobody's in the theaters right now.
Right.
You just go in. There'd be like 2 people in the theater with you.
Well, and it's just there's so much to take in.
Yes. Like you said, this is a decade's worth of film shoved into, this is what's happening in this one. And that's the thing. 10 years gets you up to this 2.5 hour long movie that does not stop.
No, it's relentless.
It is relentless with the pace. And it's got to be because you're following everybody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now.
Yeah. And they were smart to have some omissions. Yeah. Ant-Man's not anywhere to be found.
Ant-Man and Hawkeye, which, I know people are going to be like, Hawkeye, nobody cares. I like Hawkeye.
I like Hawkeye, too. He was almost one of the best parts of Age of Ultron.
He is the best part of Age of Ultron.
Yeah, that movie was not great.
Which, actually, I've got all the numbers and stuff like this for all of these things. For Avengers 1, came out in 2012. Its opening weekend was $207 million. Yeah, and its domestic for its entire run was 623 million. Its foreign box office was 895, which brought it up to a total of $1.5 billion.
Wow.
On a budget of 220 million.
Wow. That's the original?
That's the original one.
Jeez.
And then Age of Ultron did a little bit less, which is kind of like to be expected. I
Right.
don't know if anybody really liked Age of Ultron. That one was the one where I kind of started to get superhero fatigue.
Okay.
At that point.
Yeah.
Because that was 2015, so we'd already had it for 8 years or something like that, 7 years. And
they weren't expanding their characters.
No.
They were just doing sequels to all the original characters, so...
And the opening weekend for that one was 191 million, so which was slightly less than the first Avengers. Domestic, it did 459, which is crazy because that's 200 million less
Right.
than that one. Foreign actually went up on this one, was 946 million.
Huh.
So for a total of 1.4 billion on a budget of 250. And you want to guess what Infinity Wars is already at?
I would guess 1.85 billion.
Oh, it's almost like you went to Box Office Mojo or
it's
something.
It's almost like I got Google.
That's insane that already, this thing has been out for...
Like 5 weeks? 4 weeks?
Yeah, a month.
Yeah.
And it's to 2 billion.
I hope to God that it beats Titanic and Avatar.
Because have they adjusted for inflation and everything? Because I think Casablanca, if you adjust for inflation, I think Casablanca is still the highest.
I hope it just flat out beats it.
Yeah, just buries that into the... I'm tired of hearing
I
those
hate
two movies.
Avatar so much. And if you love Avatar, I apologize. But it is not that great
I was
of a
about to say,
movie.
it's an okay movie.
Right.
I used to hate that movie when
Avatar?
it first came out. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
It was just the first like 3D movie. That's the only reason it got that much money.
Yeah, exactly.
And Titanic was Titanic, and it was pretty great.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, that's insane to even think about the budget. I was telling you about the budget. I couldn't hammer down an actual...
I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, but they said for this Avengers movie and the next Avengers movie, the Infinity Wars, both parts, they're saying it's a $1 billion project.
Oh, sure.
Which makes sense because Robert Downey Jr., you got to give him like $200 million at this point to be in your movies.
But I mean, if both movies cost $1 billion to make,
Yeah.
and this one's going to make $2 billion, and the next one's going to make
Another $2 billion.
the
And then you're
profits-
going to get all the money off of people going to rewatch it and then DVDs and Blu-ray DVDs,
Merchandise.
Blu-rays, merchandise and everything.
Which I just saw today. Chris Pratt's son loves Captain America. He always dresses up like Captain America. So it's funny that Chris Pratt's not raising another Star-Lord. He likes Captain America.
He loves the other Chris.
Yes.
Which is crazy. You've got 3 of the Chris's in this one.
Yes.
Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, and Chris Evans.
All dreamboats. All hums.
All right, you said it for me.
Somebody should write another script just for those 3 guys. It doesn't have to be Marvel related. Just
a pal around or something like that. Yeah,
they should be in the movie Tag that's coming out.
Yeah,
That'd be hilarious.
That actually looks like a fun movie.
Oh, I'm already signed up.
Oh yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah. That's where Hawkeye went. He wasn't filming Infinity Wars, and then he's filming Tag.
They're like, look, we're not writing you into the second Infinity War. Go do whatever you want.
Go do your own
And he
thing.
picks Ed Helms' Tag.
It's insane that there's 19 movies already in the MCU. And then you've got the 20th, which is Ant-Man and Wasp coming out in July.
Which I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
How did you feel? We watched the trailer for that together. And...
The first Ant-Man, I wouldn't put it in like my top 5 or anything like that. It's fun. It devolves into the old trap of the hero ends up fighting just an alternate version of themselves.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way, yeah.
Yeah. That's what happened in Black Panther. Black Panther is the biggest movie that does that.
Literally.
Literally a different
I'm purple
colored
Black
version of
Panther,
him.
and I'm yellow Black Panther.
Yep. So let's fight.
So this movie just became the top grossing Marvel movie in China this week. I think as of today or yesterday. And it's made over $600 million domestic. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Disney's just killing it.
Opening weekend, $257 million.
Yeah. It's just fun to watch those numbers roll in.
And that's and you look at these numbers and stuff for these Marvel movies, and it's just this slow roll of all of these things coming up and everything, and it's more money, more money, more money, more money.
It's crazy that they're overlapping at this point. They're making so many of them that they're overlapping. Mm-hmm. So Disney's just like, where is this million coming from? I don't even know what movie we have out.
Yeah, Disney just walks in and it's just a room full of money, and they're like, is this money from Infinity War? No, I think this might be from Black Panther or something.
Like Disney's literally turned into their own character, Scrooge McDuck, diving into like a vault of gold coins. Because if you think about it, Black Panther came out.
Yep.
Huge
just
fortune.
3-4 months ago.
Infinity War, huge fortune. Solo is coming out this week.
Yeah.
They own that too.
Mm-hmm.
Just more money. Constantly.
And then Ant-Man and Wasp was coming out.
And then boom, bam, bing. Solo will still be playing when that comes out in July. Yep. It's unbelievable. And I never in a million years would guess that Disney would own nerdism.
Yeah,
like
everything.
The nerd kingdom is Disney now.
Disney owns everything at this point.
It's great. But they're also putting a lot of money into it that is making it great.
Yes. Well, it's for Marvel.
You're right. Which goes in, yeah.
We'll do that when we talk about the Star Wars stuff.
Right. And that kind of goes, that line's a little blurry.
What are your top 5 MCU movies?
Oof, that's a rough one. I don't even know. That would be so hard to nail down. I mean, the original Avengers is up there.
Yes, I've got that one for mine.
Because that movie's so great. Mm-hmm. Black Panther might be up in the top 5. Really? I know you weren't feeling Black Panther as much as I did. I just thought it was such a freaking cool movie. Mm-hmm. Guardians of the Galaxy.
1 or 2?
1.
1?
Yeah, probably 1.
That's what everybody says. They say 1 is better than 2. I'm the opposite. I'm a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 fan.
I thought 2 was cooler from a writer's standpoint because it just delved more into their characters story, and their motivations and what they wanted. But just to fully get that kick in the pants of I had no idea what this was about. But
it's the Deadpool 1 sort of
thing. Deadpool 1's better than Deadpool 2. But Deadpool 2 explored the characters more.
Yeah.
So I would say Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers is up there. Iron Man 1 was pretty freaking great. Mm-hmm. So that might be, it started it. Technically, the Hulk started it, but Iron Man's what took notice.
That one, the Ang Lee Hulk before Iron Man, that one's not in there.
No, that's nobody should even remember that existed. I worked at Universal Studios
when that
movie came out, so they were pushing it hard, and it was just
that was a trash movie.
Yeah, right. But I don't mind the Edward Norton one. Mm-hmm. It's not on my top 5, and I feel like that came first, right? Before Iron Man?
No, Iron Man came out, and then Hulk came out 2 months after.
Okay, because Tony Stark shows up in that movie.
At the very end of it.
Which nobody ever talks about, that cutscene. Mm-hmm.
I think everybody kind of forgets about the Hulk, because that one's kind of the lost child in the MCU.
Yes. And it's not awful.
No. I think that the bad guy in the Hulk movie is actually really good.
Abomination?
The Abomination, and even before he turns into the Abomination.
Yeah.
Because he's an aging soldier who finally meets his match, and he can't keep up with this guy that he's trying to hunt, the Hulk. So then he's like, I gotta do everything. I need the super soldier serum. I need all of this stuff. And then he gets the gamma rays and gets... I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it's good. Bring it back to Infinity War, would you think about them choosing not to reveal the Hulk? To take him out of the equation?
That was...
Spoiler alert, I guess.
Yeah, spoilers. Jeez, Charlie. I thought that was really interesting. And they didn't even explain it. It was just...
No, there's Bruce speculation Banner, of why he wouldn't come out.
Yeah, because Bruce Banner just can't bring the Hulk out in this movie. I thought it was... I guess this is coming hot off the heels of Thor Ragnarok, because the opening sequence is basically right after Thor Ragnarok, and then everybody gets killed on that ship that got away.
I know, it kind of negates what
the super happy tone and everything like that, and then Thanos is here, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
And I guess
we don't even see it. It just starts
it just
and like everyone's
starts and
dead.
it happens. And it might be on account of Thor got his ass, or not Thor, Hulk got his ass handed to him by Thanos.
Yep.
In which that's a big conversation piece where they're like, who's stronger, Thanos or Hulk?
Yeah.
And it did two things that got it out of the way. It put up the scale. How big is Thanos?
Right.
He is as big as the Hulk. He's faster. He is stronger. And even without the Infinity Stones, because I don't think he used the Infinity Stones to beat up. He just
beat the hell out
beat
of
the
him.
hell out of him, and he was done. And that's probably why Hulk was like, oh, I don't want to come out now. Maybe. I don't know.
I've heard it's like a child.
Yeah.
That's never had anything, no problems.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no,
The
I don't want
spoiled child,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared and I'm mad and I lost.
Yeah. It was interesting. It got to the point where he's running around in what's the Iron Man suit called? Big Bertha or something like that?
The Hulkbuster.
The Hulkbuster.
Yeah. But you're right. That is brilliant writing that they accomplished two things.
Uh-huh.
They set up Bruce's story and they thoroughly proved to the audience that most people didn't know who he was.
He's not the one to mess around with. Yeah.
If he could fight the Hulk, he's going to kill everybody.
And do you, I have this theory about why Thanos had his armor on and everything like that, and then he just sheds it when he gets the Tesseract, the space stone. He sheds all of that and everything because this story is about Thanos being a human in a way. It's about all the emotion. So he takes off all that armor so we can actually see him instead of him wearing the helmet and everything like that. I don't know if I've heard anybody say that. Maybe it's just a weird detail.
I don't even think I noticed that. Yeah. Are you talking about I noticed when he's talking to Gamora in his throne room. Yeah. And then he doesn't sit on the throne. Yeah. He sits on the step to be with his child, and he's not wearing the armor. Yeah. So I would bet that's probably the exact reason. Just to show that he's a being.
A person, in a way, yeah.
But, and probably in the second movie when he actually has to do battle, he'll keep that armor on the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're going to come for him.
Plus, he's got a big hole in his chest right now that he's got to... What's he going to do? He just had an axe in his chest, but okay. Right. Walked away from that one just fine.
Which is funny, because they say if you have kids, when Thor brings the axe, that's when you leave. Just pretend that's the end.
He died.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. So I guess talking about the end, what'd you feel?
I am old and jaded because at the very end, Thanos snaps his fingers, kills off half of the Avengers, kills off half the universe and everything like that. They all died, and they were trying really hard to make me feel for the whole Tony Spider-Man relationship that they had and everything, which it was more affecting the second time I saw it. But still, at the same time, I was like, God, you guys are going to be making movies until 2030. Right. I was like, these characters aren't dead. They're not going away. And everybody knows that who likes superhero movies. Because, freaking Robin died, and then he came back to life in the DC universe. Right. And so all these characters are going to die. Even when, Heimdall's dead, he might be the only one that, he's dead. They're not going to bring back.
And I guess that's a whole other... Yeah. Who's dead? Who's coming back?
But it's all of these people died. They all melted away and everything like that. And then at the very end, it said Thanos will return in Infinity War 2 or whatever. And I was tired and kind of grumpy and everything. And I was the guy who looked at the screen and I was like, yeah, and so will everybody else.
Oh, you were that guy?
Yeah, I was that guy. But I like the ending and everything like that. If you just suspend your disbelief that everybody is not dead, they're coming back to be in their sequels and everything. Black Panther's not dead. He just came out and made them $1 billion. They aren't going to get rid of him.
Yeah, and it was shocking because I didn't expect that. And you're right, all that makes sense. But to look from Tony's point of view, to see him going, and it's all been building about this for 10 years. This has been building. Yeah, that he couldn't protect somebody.
And Spider-Man is his surrogate son. Yeah. Because if you remember in the beginning of it, when we first see Tony and Pepper, who is finally back in these movies. Maybe she had like a contract dispute and she was gone since Iron Man 3 or something like that. But she's back, and Tony is talking about having kids with her.
Right.
So you've got that weird playoff of Thanos and Tony. They're both talking about children. They're both talking about kids and everything like that.
Which hopefully maybe that'll come in play in the second one too. Hopefully. But even when I think when he's going up to Titan on the spaceship, Pepper cuts out and says, something along the lines of blah, 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 ...
Yeah.
Probably I'm pregnant. Is what
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Hey.
She says, Tony, get back here. And then she breaks up.
Well.
Yeah. So I'm sure. And I don't know if that's in the comics that they have a baby or what, but.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, it is interesting getting. Because the end credit sequences and stuff like that, which was just the one where Nick Fury gets his pager and calls Captain Marvel.
Yes.
I really wish that there was a scene where it was like a Silent Hills sort of thing, where it's like you get the Captain Marvel thing halfway through the credits, and then at the very, very end of the credits, you get a scene where since we all know they're not dead and everything, like Spider-Man wakes up and he's in this weird, he's like in the upside down, sort of the way it looks or whatever.
Yeah.
And all the characters are awake now. They didn't die. They just went to an alternate reality.
Yeah.
So that would have satisfied me for, the whole killing them off sort of thing. But
it's just so crazy. Like, I don't know. I like it being more promiscuous. Like,
yeah.
Are they
promiscuous?
Yeah. I don't know if that's the right word.
Ambiguous.
Ambiguous. Yeah.
There it is.
Deadpool's more promiscuous. I don't know. I like not knowing.
Yeah.
And I love the end credit scene because it captures that feeling of what Marvel does so well. Especially
setting up the universe, you mean?
Yeah, like I hate to admit this, but I'm not the biggest comic book guy.
Yeah,
I'm the MCU guy.
Yeah,
and I love that they intrigue me enough to be like, who is this?
And I'm gonna go do some research.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn about it. I'm gonna get super excited about it. Super excited. And that's where they're killing it over the DC Comics universe.
Oh, DC.
That they're intriguing people about characters they don't know and don't care about.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Nobody really, outside of comic book nerds or geeks or anything like that, nobody really gave a damn about any of these characters.
No.
None of them. Captain America, Iron Man, nobody gave a damn about who Iron Man was until Tony Stark was played by Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
And then he's just this ball of charm, and then everybody's like, we want more.
Yeah, that's it. Or Thor. Who the hell cared about Thor? Except for
somebody
just
in Norway or something like
that. And I mean, even his movies weren't great, but they were good enough to get you through.
Thor 2 is one of my top 5.
Really?
Yeah. And that's,
wow.
And I know that's going to shock a whole lot of people.
Wow.
I have in no particular order, my top 5 are Avengers, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Good.
Guardians 2, The Winter Soldier, and Thor 2, which I know is, that's the weird one.
It's hanging on at 5, so that's good. But it's not a bad movie. Like, it is a pretty great movie.
I still think it's better than the first one. And I would actually say I'd rather watch that over Thor Ragnarok.
What? Okay. I don't know about that. Because I would...
Across the line.
I would consider Thor Ragnarok to be up there. But that's a big thing between us. Like,
is the comedy aspect. Yeah. Yes.
Make that shit like the Three Stooges, and I'm all about it. Which
They're
is
all
crazy.
running around poking each other.
Yeah. But no, I could see that. At least every Thor movie's improved.
Yes, it has definitely been a step up. Which was strange that they got Kenneth Branagh to do the first Thor movie.
Yeah, very few people realize or talk about that.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh directed that movie. And I liked the first Thor. I would go Ragnarok, the original, and 2. So my least favorite one is probably the second one. Because they even went darker with the second one.
Yeah. And people are like, elves? Elves. It's like, well, that's, if you've played God of War, now you know it's a big part of the mythology. But hey.
But that was an important movie because it introduced the
ether.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty
It's a
big
seminal
one.
film. It got one of the Infinity Stones in there. But back to Infinity Wars.
Yes.
This movie, even though it has 10 billion characters in it, it feels like it is well paced and everything. But you're definitely not going to be following Captain America through this one. You're
No.
not going to be following anybody else. You're really only following Tony Stark, Thor, and Thanos. Those are your three main characters that you're following through this.
And Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange is in there too. Yeah.
Because I did not like the Doctor Strange movie. I was not a fan of it.
Me neither.
But again, just as brilliant as Marvel is, it got me through it.
Yep.
I appreciated it.
Marvel movies toe that line where none of them are just outright bad movies.
Right.
They're all
worth price of
good
admission.
movies. Yes.
Yeah. And Doctor Strange was a cool new way to tell the stories. But after Doctor Strange ended, I was like, I cannot wait to see that dude with everybody else.
Cool stuff. He is like the Hulk. I don't really want to see another
Yes.
Hulk movie, but I want to see Hulk team up with Thor
Yeah.
so they can beat up a whole bunch of dudes.
Right. And Doctor Strange was probably the coolest person in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
his powers were so cool. They really showed how powerful he is.
Yeah, especially that part where he's going through and seeing the 14 million different variations
Yes.
of how this movie could have played out.
Right. Which is also a fun way to look at the end of the movie. Everything that happened, he wanted it to happen that way. Because that's the way it had to happen.
He knew the only way they could win is if he gave the Eye of Agamotto to Thanos,
Right.
and it would play out this way.
And the only way to justify Star-Lord being a complete shit.
Yep.
Which, I've heard a lot of people mad about that. But
yeah,
how would you react? Because I'd probably do the same thing.
I don't know if I really 100% bought the Star-Lord Gamora relationship in this one.
Oh, I think it's smoldering.
It's smoldering. It's just a
It's
thing
hot.
because it ended at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It ended with it's just a little thing,
Right.
something. So it's a budding romance at this point.
Right.
So I guess you could make the leap that Star-Lord would freak out that his girlfriend he has to kill his girlfriend or
Right.
whatever.
But everybody always says it's the same. Like, he always reacts that same way.
Yeah.
With his dad,
Mm-hmm.
he always flies off the handle at the most important and inopportune time.
Yeah.
So at least it fits with his character,
Mm-hmm.
consistent. I also read that James Gunn didn't know that they were going to kill Gamora.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
I have heard some things about that where they're like, they had to have checked in with him.
I
about
heard that the Russo brothers wanted to do it, went to Kevin
Feige.
Feige.
Yeah.
Then Kevin was like, I'll tell James.
And then he just never did? Or...
And then he did, and I guess James was cool with it. Because he understands the importance of killing off somebody in an important moment.
Mm-hmm.
Whether she's... And that's another conversation. Is she dead?
Is she dead? 'Cause
Is Loki
that's-
dead? Is Heimdall dead? And
it's
is
the
Vision
same,
dead?
It's the same thing as with Deadpool. As soon as you insert time travel into any movie,
Right.
it's very hard to take anything seriously that actually happens, unless it's like a Back to the Future sort of thing where it's two different realities
Right.
that are doing this. But
Which the MCU has hinted that there are multiple timelines, multiple universes. So it'll be interesting. I really, and you know what? Again, we're movie nerds.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed to say I'm not a comic nerd. But I've definitely been afraid to see what the end of the Infinity Gauntlet series is, because I don't want it to even remotely affect
yeah,
what happens in the movie.
And that's the thing. I was gonna pick up the omnibus of the Infinity War thing, or just the whole series of
Right.
it, and read it. And I had that point too, where I was like, I don't really want to see the end of it.
Right.
Like I know it'll be close, but it'll probably be different.
Yeah, they'll change it for
Enough,
sure. But I don't
but-
want to even a hint or a seasoning of what that's going to
I've
be.
had a decade into this already, and so I'm just going with the movies for right now.
Because I can't even fathom what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Doctor Strange knows.
Doctor Strange
You
knows.
better find him out.
But, that dude's dust. So,
That's the thing. How did you feel about going back to the whole Doctor Strange thing and everything, how to see him and Tony interact, which I thought was fun, but then I sat there and I looked at both of those characters and I was like, Doctor Strange is just a version of Tony Stark when you suck out all the charisma and fun, and he's just a dried up, mean, crotchety douchebag.
Right.
Who has magical powers.
Yes. I thought that watching his origin movie, it's just like, this is Tony without the charm.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what killed it for me. But it was fun to see in this movie, even though he didn't have the charm that Tony did, that Tony was frustrated that somebody was way more fucking powerful than he could ever be.
Yep.
Yeah. Which was awesome.
It's interesting. I really want to say that I'm happy with the way that this played out with all the characters and everything like that. But since you've got so many characters and so many of them are just not getting enough screen time and everything.
Right.
Like Captain America was just whatever.
I see, and I think the next movie's gonna be his movie.
It probably will, and I don't like that Civil War had to take the place of Captain America's third movie.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. As good of a movie as it was.
Yeah.
They should have just called that an Avengers.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like. It was another Avengers movie that kind of didn't have to happen.
Right.
Because, like, it was one of those movies where it was like, hey, everything happened, and then at the very end, they were like, yeah, we're still friends.
Yeah, we'll be cool.
And they kind of, it felt like they shortchanged that ending, because it happened so quick, even though it's supposed to be 2 years between these things or whatever. It just felt like, oh, I'm not gonna talk to Captain America anymore. We're not friends. All this happened. You're all in your icebox prison out at sea. Even though Captain America came out to come get him and everything. But then they just kind of got that out of the way quick with the cell phone to call Captain America.
But it did lead to... and I love that they delayed it even another movie that they didn't talk or work that out.
Yeah.
So I'm totally fanboying over like, ooh, I can't wait for them to hook up. And
yeah, because at the very end was the last... No, they didn't even see each other in this movie because they were on two separate planets. Yeah.
He called him, maybe.
No, actually, it was Hulk who called.
Yes, that's
Steve.
right. Yeah. So I think they handled that very cool.
Mm-hmm. To keep them all separate and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep delaying that because that'll make that initial Avengers group even more fun to watch. Mm-hmm. Probably Black Widow and Hulk will finally have to deal with their romance too.
They did have a good scene where Bruce Banner showed up again, and then he sees Natasha, Black Widow, again for the first time, and there's a little bit of a smile and everything. He's really coy, saying hi and everything.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure I know why her hair is dyed blonde and everything is because at the end of Civil War she had to go there in hiding, so she probably dyed her hair because of that, but damn it, she's supposed to be a redhead.
Yeah, and maybe she'll come back as a redhead in the next one. Who knows?
No reason not to.
Yeah, and who knows how much time is going to pass.
Yeah, because, when is Ant-Man 2 happening in this whole thing? Is it happening after Infinity War, or is it happening before Infinity War?
I feel like it's happening right at the tail end of Infinity War is what I've heard. But, going into the bigger MCU, because I love all of it, I was very disappointed, and this is going to be a spoiler alert for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was disappointed
because I haven't watched that show at all.
Do you even care?
No,
that I was spoiling it
because
for you?
I'm 5 seasons behind already. Anyways,
I was disappointed that the season finale came and half the cast didn't disappear. I think that would have been awesome, and that was the big debate. Are they going to go for it? They acknowledged Infinity War throughout the TV show, but they didn't disappear. So, yeah.
And I didn't even notice you're wearing a S.H.I.E.L.D. shirt.
Oh,
right
heck
now.
yeah. I'm an Agent Coulson fanboy through and through. Which I'm so excited he's going to be in Captain Marvel. I can't even...
Oh, yeah, because they can do that, because that's back in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in the 90s, and it's his first mission.
It's his first mission.
Yeah. And Samuel Jackson's got 2 eyes, and he's got, curly hair. And
we're going to be able to see why he has the eyes. And,
right.
This is such a hard movie to talk about. Because, even trying to talk about it as, this scene happens, and then this scene happens, and then that scene happens. Because we were doing that with Deadpool, because that's a very straightforward movie. Right. This one, you're following 3 different storylines.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, you have to have seen all 18 other Marvel movies to really be getting into this and everything. What did you think about Peter Dinklage?
I was just thinking about that. That was phenomenal. And, like, he plays such a tragic character.
Yeah.
And then, like, right at the end of that story, I forget what joke he did, but he just tells this deadpan joke. And the audience loved it. And,
even him showing up, because when they were like, "Oh, we gotta go find the dwarf who can make me a new hammer," and then it's Peter Dinklage, except he's like 10 feet tall.
Right.
Yeah.
That was, but as much as I loved that whole Thor storyline, and the location and him and Rocket, I felt it was so weird that they were taking so much to focus on just Thor getting a weapon when there's the fate of the universe is just completely at hand. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I
really
wouldn't cut
good,
it, but it was just so out of place.
Now that you say it, that was a really long scene cutting back and forth.
Especially when the Battle of Wakanda is happening,
Yeah.
and then they're going up, and Thor's just trying to make up an axe.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird.
I mean, all right, going with your whole theme of saying that everybody's hunky and everything like that. Thor looks so much better after Thor Ragnarok with the hair do and everything.
You like short hair Thor?
Yes.
I do too.
And I actually wish that he would have kept the eye patch on and everything. Because
agree.
that is a good callback to Odin and everything.
Yeah, I agree.
And they kind of got rid of that one. But it's minor gripes. All I have about this movie is just minor gripes.
For sure.
Like Thor's eye patch and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I could be talking about bigger things.
But yeah, they don't exist.
Yeah.
There's not a bigger problem. And like I said, I love the Thor storyline. It's so different in contrast to all the other battles that are happening. Mm-hmm. And I love that Rocket continued his prosthetic limb fetish.
His whole thing. Yeah, with him and Bucky. That cool scene where Bucky picks him up and they're shooting and everything. And he's like, "Hey, how much for..." What? Oh, he asked him for the gun. He says, "It's not for sale." "Well, how much for your arm?" And he just walks off.
And I think that's a big thing that's so cool about Marvel. Like, James Gunn came and consulted on the set and probably was like, "Hey, remember that Rocket has
you got to put that in there too."
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would be so easy to just overlook.
Forget. Yeah. And I loved. Now we're just talking about jokes and stuff like that. Drax, when they first find Thor, and Peter Quill is looking at Thor on the table, and he's like, "It's just some dude." And then Drax is like, "He is not a dude. You are a dude. He is a man." It's like a pirate and an angel had a child.
It's such a brilliant dynamic they created that Peter was jealous of Thor. And that's when you really start fanboying to see those interactions of these characters meeting for the first time.
And that's what it is. That's why everybody geeked out. That's why the first Avengers did so well, because they were like, Captain America and Iron Man are going to get into a movie and they're going to fight.
Right. And they captured it again in the third one. Not so much the second one.
The second one...
It was just the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, there was no freshness to it.
No.
But this was fresh because they've split up the original Avengers and introduced a billion other characters on top of them. So it had that initial feeling of like, oh, I'm so excited to see these people talk for the first time. And Disney's making out like a bandit for it.
Yeah, they're hand over fist on this thing.
Now, so are you a Netflix guy too?
Yeah.
Do you like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones? And
I liked The Punisher.
I still haven't seen it.
That's definitely, you gotta...
Is it cool?
That's the one, because for me, my favorite superheroes are the not superheroes.
Right.
My
Just
three
the
favorite
vigilantes.
superheroes, is Judge Dredd is fantastic.
Nice.
Batman and Punisher are my top of everybody.
Yeah.
And they all have something in common. They don't have superpowers.
Right.
They're all basically pissed off dudes who wear black and have guns.
And try hard.
And try really. That's their superpower. They all try hard.
They're just that messed up.
But yeah, that's the thing, is like, I think I tried to watch the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Uh-huh.
And the internet froze up and it was buffering, and I was like, I don't need to really watch this.
No,
yeah,
you missed
I know,
so
right?
much.
But and the same thing, I finished Glitter Fist. What's his name? Iron Fist.
Oh, yeah.
Finished his up. I finished that one up.
Definitely the weakest of the 4 Netflix series.
Ugh. And I think I watched like half of the first episode of Jessica Jones, and I'm like, this isn't grabbing me at all.
Oh, did you ever finish it?
No.
See, her Kilgrave, her bad guys, the best in the MCU.
Yeah.
If they're even considered part of the MCU.
Yeah, they'd be like Marvel TV Universe or something like that or whatever.
I mean, they reference, and I guess that goes back to the point. Like, I'm bummed they didn't show up. But I read why, and it makes more sense.
Why is that?
Well, the fan of me is like, come on, put them in there. But for the people that have gone through the 18
That's true.
movies...
They probably haven't crossed paths with this stuff. Yeah.
And that was the whole point of Infinity War. We don't have to explain this because you did it. Mm-hmm. But if they bring in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if they bring in Netflix...
Which is something I complain about the new version of Star Wars all the time, because you have to read all the books and all the comics now, because it's just, you have to for some reason.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you didn't. And Scott, my friend, who... did not see Infinity Wars. He's like, well, this is crazy. So half of the universe is gone. I was like, yeah, dude, it's crazy. He's like, so somewhere in Hell's Kitchen, there was a blind lawyer giving a trial. And then he just disappeared.
Yeah. Which, and they have to acknowledge it on the Netflix series, too.
Yeah.
They have to.
Because
they've set that precedence.
Daredevil's getting his 3rd season here soon enough.
Yeah. He's getting his season. Jessica Jones just finished her 2nd, so she's safe for now.
Yeah, until whatever's going to happen after this.
Right. Now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is smart because they're not coming back till after the 2nd part. So they can even just be like, oh, remember that time everyone
blew over,
disappeared?
now we're here again.
Yeah. That was an adventure that nobody saw. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, I know, right?
So we'll see. Because, I mean, that's how much of a fan I am. They absorb everything they do, except for like Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways and
all the stuff that's on FX and everything.
Yeah. But I guess going into the final word.
Yep.
Infinity War, A+. Blew me away.
I'm gonna give it a solid A on this thing.
Yeah.
If you are the one person who hasn't seen this now, obviously by them making $2 billion already. Right. I mean, yeah, you have to go see this and everything. It kind of sucks because the movie theater that I went to go see it in, Deadpool pushed it out of the RPX, so it's not on the big screen anymore. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other crazy thing. I love this movie so much, and I love Deadpool so much, so I was kind of bummed that they were going to compete.
Yeah.
I wish Deadpool wouldn't knock Infinity War out.
And actually, Black Panther was at that movie theater too.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray is already out, but Black Panther is still in the movie theater right now at the same time as Infinity War.
You can see it on the big screen for sure.
So, hey, if it's a good time to be a fan of all these things. It has been for the past decade.
Yeah, this is Christmas right now.
Yes, it's I wonder what's going to happen after this. If there's going to come to a point where there's just not new Marvel content out there, which there probably won't be.
No, there's no way.
They're gonna ride this train until people stop throwing their money at the movie screen.
You know, the new Avengers is gonna be Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and whoever.
And yeah, that's
maybe
right.
Hawkeye, whatever
Hawkeye is
doing.
Which
the speculation is he's gonna be Ronin, but. Hold on, you fasten your seatbelts, everybody.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Way to do it. But yeah, we'll bring this one to an end, and then we'll actually do like some Han Solo speculations at the end of this one really quick. But yeah, A+, go see it, shill out some money for them. They deserve it.
That's right.
So.
And guess what, Robert? I'm not feeling so good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Oh no! You can't see it because we don't have the feed right. He's melting away, just gone.
All right, everybody.
So, Solo is coming out actually tonight. We're going to go see it right after this. We wanted to do some speculations about Han Solo, because Star Wars is always fun to speculate about, especially when it's a Disney property and they're making money.
Right. I will be the first to admit, I think you're the bigger Star Wars fan than I am.
I definitely am.
But I'm excited to see this. I had no desire to see it probably 3 weeks ago.
Same here.
Yeah. But somehow, the premiere happened. Everyone just went nuts about it. I've read reviews that say you have to see
Spectacular.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
And you should be the first to see it.
Except if you know anything about Han Solo or the Solo a Star Wars story, there's a huge boycott going on right now.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, there is like 60-70% of people, this is at least on Rotten Tomatoes, say they don't want to see it at all. Like
Really?
They're staying away from it. So much so that Disney, I believe, readjusted its box office predictions down 15%, I think it was.
Wow.
Because of that.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so that's why I have my predictions about it and everything, because like I'm such a huge Star Wars fan and everything. I'm not a fan of Disney's Star Wars. Like at all.
And you kind of alluded to that earlier because we were talking about the humor of Thor Ragnarok, and you feel like they're doing that to Star Wars.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this movie sails underneath 100 million. Just doesn't clear that bar. I do. Oh. I really hope it does not clear 100 million, but it probably will. I'm kind of expecting that it'll probably be around 120 to 130, maybe.
Yeah, I would think it would be Deadpool money.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's a tricky place, and I think I'm just kind of floating in this limbo world. I don't want to see a Lando movie. I don't want to see any of them. I don't want to see every character from the original trilogy get their own, prequel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm super pumped to see this movie, where I didn't want to see it at all. Mm-hmm. I think Ron Howard might have saved the day. That's up for debate, though. We'll see.
Because I'm going into it with a completely different expectation, because I want to see a train wreck just to happen. I want to see the points where I'm like, that was filmed by somebody else. That was Ron Howard. Right. He doesn't know how to act. Why did they cast this guy? Right. All of these things.
How'd you feel about Rogue One? Because this is kind of the Rogue One story all over again.
Only seen that movie once.
Really? Me too, but I loved it.
It's the best out of what Disney has already put out.
And see, I'm hearing that about Solo. That this is the best out of the new movies.
That's interesting. We'll see how Alden Ehrenreich actually does with being Han Solo, because I look at him and Donald Glover, because they're like, Donald Glover's amazing as Lando. I see Donald Glover acting, and I'm like, that's a boy pretending to be a man.
Right.
Seeing him act, I was like, Lando and Han, both of their characters, had so much charisma to them. They had a presence and everything. Especially Billy D. Williams when he sees Princess Leia for the first time. He's like, hello. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, God, this guy's cool. I see Donald Glover and I'm like, you're not Lando. And I know people are going to be like, oh, and everything. But I want to say salacious things in these reviews. So like people write bad reviews about us and everybody's like, we got to go listen to these guys. But I'm predicting that this movie, especially in China, is not going to do good at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be... I'm going to give it a month in the theaters in China, and then they're just going to get rid of it.
You think so?
That's what they did with The Last Jedi.
Wow.
For a month, and then they took it out of like 90% of the theaters, and then after that, it was gone.
Right.
Out of China. All of China.
And
crazy.
I was reading on Forbes that it isn't doing good in China, but that's still early. But... it also says that the Star Wars franchise is so strong they don't need China. Whereas like with Infinity War, they're like, oh, wait till you see China's box office. Yeah. It's going to push it over. Uh-huh. But
second biggest movie market in the world.
Yeah. Force Awakens made $2 billion, but only $124 million in China.
Yeah.
And Rogue One made over $1 billion, but it only made $69 million in China.
Yeah, I think the opening weekend in China was only $30 million for Rogue One.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Well, for The Last Jedi, it was like 26 or something like that. So.
And we kind of talked before we did this that like what is China's stigma with the Star Wars universe?
I really don't think, because I think China actually got a actual different version of Star Wars in the form of like a comic book, pretty much.
Okay.
And it was completely different because like, and this is something, because like I know we got to go see Solo and everything.
Right.
But that's a whole nother conversation, was that when George first envisioned Star Wars, it was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Han Solo was green and he had gills.
Right.
So, you know, that's one thing to talk about it. But, I mean, like, it's sad to say that, like, if I went back to 10-year-old, if I had a time-traveling machine and I went back to 10-year-old Robert and I told him, hey, look, when you grow up, when you're almost 30 years old, you're going to get a Star Wars movie every year. He'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. And I'm going to be like, except they suck. But I never thought when I was young that I'd be like, I'm hoping for Star Wars to fail.
Right.
Everything. Never thought that would happen.
Yeah, that's a shocking statement, I gotta say.
Yeah. So write your bad comments and reviews. And that's totally what we forgot to say. Comment in the description below and let us know what you think about Han Solo, Deadpool, and Infinity War. Because we do want to hear what other people have to say about it.
Yeah. But we gotta go.
We do.
We're gonna go see Solo
We're
right
gonna go see
now.
Solo, and we'll probably end up doing another review of that next week or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. Sometime.
Right.
But goodbye, everybody.
Signing off.
Even though we did sign off with you like fading away in the last part of it.
You can cut that into this part.
I'm totally leaving this the way it is right now.